Morning. So it is Tuesday morning. So yeah, today Tuesday. So I am heading in for work. Whatever time you see this, I hope you guys are doing well, or hope you're doing well. All right, let me just get some gas at this gas station before I start my journey. But yeah, so I'm actually heading out. I have 8 patients that I'll be seeing today. 2 I was supposed to see from yesterday, but they weren't home, so I'm going to try and see them today, in addition to 5 other patients. And I also have 1 patient that called in saying that they need a prescription for, I think they're having like an allergic reaction. Looking for my wallet. Yeah, so I'm gonna go and see those patients, and then from there try to see if I can finish early. Where's the card? All right, so I'm at the Shell gas station. So I have one of those Shell cards, so I try to just use them as best as I possibly can, even though I feel as though they're more expensive. All right, so I'm gonna get the gas, and then from there we'll start our journey. All right, just give me a few minutes. In the meantime, you can look at a bit of a traffic. All right, not really traffic, but yeah. All right, let me just go and get the gas and then come back. All right, so 92. Alrighty. Hi, morning. Who is there? How are you doing? All right. So I'm at the gas station getting some gas. Oh, son about me. Yeah. Getting some gas. So I'm filling up for the morning. Hopefully this will last me probably like hopefully 2 days. Yeah. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'll be leaving out. My first patient is gonna be at a bit of a journey. Let's see, it's gonna be a bit of a drive away from where I am, so I'm gonna do that. How do I see the comments? Can I see the comments on here? So the first patient is one with allergic reaction, so just gonna see him because it's a husband. Gonna see the husband, and then just gonna see the regular patients that I have for today, because I think they have this new law where they're not, I think Medicare is not covering for virtual visits anymore, so we can't really do any virtual visits. So all of the visits I'll be seeing are gonna be inpatient, in person. All right, so we're done. Hold on. All right, so that's what, $36 to fill up this little tank here. The other vehicle was probably like almost $45, $50. So this is not bad. I like this because it's very fuel efficient. I like it. You can park anywhere. Can park it anywhere, so that's a plus. And it drives real nice, and it fast. All right, not saying that I'm driving real fast, but you need something that can go a little bit, you know. But yeah, so every 3 days or every 2 days probably, Yeah, because I had probably like 3 strokes on this 2-stroke. It dropped down to. I tried to fill up. All right, let's see if I can get in that line. There's so much traffic on the road right now. Do you like to speed? Oh no, dear, I do not. I like the movie Speed, but I do not like to speed. I think probably my foot just heavy, but yeah, I don't like to speed. Speeding is not good. All right, I see too much accidents on the road that is caused by speeding, and them don't look good. Yeah. Panther Walk, how are you doing? Yeah, I drive at a reasonable speed as far as I'm concerned. It's not fast and it's not slow. Yeah, if the speed limit is like 70, I try to go at 70. Sometimes probably a little 75, depending on if the road empty. I'm not police. You understand? And I think that's just how everybody drive. You have some persons who definitely sit up on the speed limit. You understand? Some persons who will see the green light and think it's still a red light, so I'm still stuck at the stoplight. Like me. Alright, once I see green and I look and it's clear, then it's a go for me. Alright, but alright, so I am gonna go and see those patients and then from there. But how are you guys doing though? What time is it for you? So like these 3 cars now on the road in front of me. I'm gonna complain a lot, but yeah, you have the fast lane and then everybody driving at the same speed, and it's like a 45 zone, everybody going at 20. Like, that's unacceptable. Like, leave the fast lane for the persons who should be going at, you know, at the speed limit that they want to go at, but don't go and block up traffic for everybody. Okay, nice. Oh, remember to go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. I realize no like give thumbs up on YouTube here. Go ahead and give my video a thumbs up, please, and a like and a share. Slow better sometimes. It's not better sometimes, and it's better all the time. Honestly, it's better all the time. All right, because if you're late and you try speed, you're already done late, so you ain't gonna go and reach in time. You're already late, so better you just reach, you know, late and done, because you're done late. So that's just it. But yeah, I try to leave out early so I don't have to speed or be in a rush. All right, that's just it. But you know, some days, as I say, if the road is very clear or, you know, no police or anything like that, you probably just go a little bit faster, like, you know, the 5 miles over. Yeah, but not anything that is crazy. Yeah. All right, so it's 9:40 for you, it's 8:40 for me. Okay, so where are you now, Panther Walk? Where are you currently? I'm in Texas, so it's 8:44 for me. I think next week probably we're gonna be dropping 1 hour behind or so, fall back. Yeah, Virginia. Okay, nice. Are you a nurse? Are you in the health field? Oh no. Oh no. Okay, nice. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. Coming on a busy, you know. I know on a busy. A lot of very, very busy. So I really appreciate you taking the time out. Alright. Virginia. And I row on this. I subscribe because you have a good personality. Okay, thank you. Oh, and a Rowan. It's not Rowan. I have a friend in one of my classmates from college in Virginia, but I haven't spoken to him in a long time. So I thought it was, because I know he had a page, but I know he said he was, you know, cutting out that page and probably starting something else. So, but then I saw a face there. Okay. Yeah, I know that a lot of persons subscribe because of different things, you know, different reasons when you go on a page. Some, you know, subscribe for the personality, the looks, the content itself. So yeah, I totally understand. Thank you. But this is just me all the time. Alright, this is just me. What you see here is what you get. Alright, what you see here is what you get. That's just me. I try to, the content that I'm giving or I'm sharing, I just want it to be real. You know them way there? I don't have time for the fakeness and like, no, too much work. That is just gonna be too much work. So you can imagine I come on the internet right about now and I pretend to be Miss Twingy Twanga. I don't know where you're from, but when we say Twingy Twanga, like, you speak the Queen English. I'm not really taught the Queen English, you understand? If I have to, then fine. But I want my platform to be somewhere that I am very, very comfortable. Not saying I want to be rude, disrespectful. I want it to be professional and at the same time have versus loving me for me. You understand the content that I'm sharing? And so, yeah, this is just me all the time. You understand? When I'm at work, it's a different vibe because, everybody can't really understand some of the patois. And so you can't really go to the people that work and say, hey, oh, my lady. You can't go to the people that work and say, well, go on. You know them way there? No. But you have persons who subscribe to my page because this is my content. This is my page. You understand? For different things. So I give them a mixture of everything. Alright. I give them a mixture of everything. But yeah. Alright. So there's a lot of traffic on the road. No, I didn't take out my GPS. So yeah, let me do that. I had it open earlier on the other phone that I'm using, but then I said I was gonna do the live, so I took it off that phone. So I need to. Okay. So, and no texting and driving. No looking on the phone like that. Alright, so it's up and running. So 35 minutes to my first patient, 32A. Okay, so my first patient is gonna be in 35 minutes. So this one is a patient that yesterday they called saying that they needed a prescription. But as I said, we're not doing any more virtual visits, or I'm not doing any more virtual visits. So all my patients are going to be in-person visits because Medicare not paying for it. So if the patient has Medicare insurance or Medicaid or on Medicaid, then we can't do any more, virtual visits for them. Or we can do it, but don't bill. But who is working for free? I'm not take care of no patient nowadays for free. Right? Because a lot of the patients in house call, if that's the case, if you're going to be writing prescriptions or sending referrals for all of these patients, oh my word, you don't have time for yourself, because every second they call, every second they want a prescription, every second they want a referral, every second they need a visit. So I try to bulk them though. I tell them, look, every time you call, if it is something that warrants a visit, you're gonna get a visit and you're gonna get a bill. So I try to tell them, but some of them still, we're very, 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 very stubborn. And we just feel as though we have to call a provider, we have to talk to the doctor, we have to talk to the nurse. So they can't wait. They can't wait for the next visit, and that's a problem. And when they come on the phone, they're not talking, they're not being like, getting to the point. They want to be on the phone for y'all 1 hour, 30 minutes, telling you about everything that's going on. And if you try to end the conversation too early, they get upset. So guess what? You just listen. You understand? And I know it sounds weird, but you can't just be sitting down for 45 minutes, 30 minutes listening to patients talking and not be billing them. Who doing that? Nobody not doing that. Nobody not doing it. You understand? So that's my time and my medical advice I'm giving there. So it's worth something. So you have to build them. You have to build them. When I go to see my provider, when I go to see my doctor for my annual visit, and if I say, hey doc, I needed to refill a prescription, It's an annual visit he's billing me for, and he's also billing me for a regular visit. So that's 2 visits in one. You understand? And not to mention, him have me so long I wait for almost 3 hours. 3 hours waiting for, oh, this lane. 3 hours waiting for my visit. You understand? I don't know if it was like a overlook they did with that visit, but me tell them, I say, no, this no make no sense. It don't make no sense. I have an appointment for whatever time, for 3 o'clock. There's no way 5 o'clock I'm supposed to be still sitting here waiting for you guys. So it's no different, but I'm not having those patients wait that long. They want emotional support through trauma during phone conversation. Had plenty of people like that. Okay, bye. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. They want a lot of things. But as I say, sometimes you can't really even address. Sometimes you have to really cut them off. You have to literally cut them off at different stage of the conversation, because if not, they will just continue talk. You understand? And as I say, depending on which section of the conversation you cut them off at, then it can be a problem, because it might be a case where they say you don't want to listen, or you're just being disrespectful. And so you might find out that they call the company and say, hey, I don't want to see Stacy anymore. I don't want to see John anymore. And they say, why? Oh, because she wasn't willing to listen. So nowadays, me listen. I listen to the patients in my name conversation. You understand? And then from there, I just write a detailed note and bill them for the virtual visits. You understand? And that's just it. So, it is just what it is. Oh, let me go around this side. It is just what it is. But yeah. All right. So we'll see. So let me show you where I'm at right now. So that's how the traffic looks. It's not much traffic, but that's what it is right now. So 9:20. Why did they have me driving this side? Just weird. The last time I came down here, it didn't have me driving around here. Ow. These roads are like so bumpy, and then it just makes the car so loud. Hi, morning. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. thought that truck was going to go through. All right, so so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that you should know about nursing school. So if you're thinking about going into nursing school, we're just going to share a few things that you should be aware of in terms of a preparation for your nursing program. And as usual, if you haven't subscribed to the page, go ahead and subscribe on my YouTube page here at ThinkNursing, and you can also follow me on TikTok at ThinkNursing. It's one word. I do share content related to nursing, travel, and lifestyle, so definitely go ahead and look up that page and follow. All right, so I know sometimes when you're thinking about going into a program, whether or not it is nursing, you always find yourself thinking about whether or not it is the right program for you, because you probably don't have much information regarding, you know, the outline, the syllabus and everything. And so a lot of times we might find ourselves in situations where we're thinking that we're not ready to start a program because of lack of information. So you're not alone. Just like everybody else, when we're starting out, a lot of times we don't know what we're going into. We don't know what we're going to be expecting. All right, and so the situation is that you start the program or you get enrolled into nursing school, and then you're being thrown a lot of things. First, you're exposed to a new environment. You're exposed to that new environment. You're exposed to a new the culture of the university. And depending on what kind of university, some might be a university that is, you know, more religious than others. Some might just be the regular university where you can wear whatever it is that you like. Some university might require you to be wearing uniform. You understand? Just like my university at the time when I started my nursing program. So depending on what, there are so many things that you might not be aware of at the start of your program, but once you go in for orientation and you get that outline, then you have a better idea. All right, one thing you need to know about starting any program, nursing school, or, you know, whatever area you're planning on studying, one thing you have to remember is that you all right, you won't know everything. A lot of times you might prepping yourself and you might find out that there's information that is still missing. You still need more information on in terms of learning. And throughout nursing and life, you will realize that learning never stops. It continues, you understand? But there are certain things that are essential to any program of study, and including nursing, that you definitely need to grasp before you are considered to be eligible for graduation. So there's certain things that you definitely need to learn, but as you go along, you will realize that the exams are going to be a little bit more focused on things that are important, that are prepping you for your final exam or for sitting that board's exam if you're supposed to be getting a license. All right, so not everything you learn during the classes or during the course, the program of study, but there are additional information that you're going to have to be doing on your own, because a lot of times, you know, this is you have a lot of self-learning, you have a lot of adult learning taking place, and that is something that you have to take responsibility for, your own education, finding the information that you need to build on the ones that, you know, they're providing you with in those classrooms. When it comes on to medications, you'll realize that there's some medications that the names are just so long you might not remember them, the drug name, you understand the class or classification, things like that, side effects. But as you go along, as I say, you will learn, you will remember one and two things about the drugs that will stick. All right, it's the same thing when it comes on to condition. The more you read about it, the more count the conditions, the more you will remember the pathophysiology, and as you go along, how to manage a patient appropriately and give the best care. There are days when you're gonna be in nursing school, and there are days or times when you are gonna be crying, and it's not crying because you just feel as though you want to cry. You're gonna be having hard days, tough days, and it is something that a lot of persons do experience. I know sometimes we might not talk about it, but some persons, they go in their room and cry, they go in the bathroom and cry, you understand? They find those time periods where they're alone and they just cry, because that's just one way for them to get certain things off their chest, you know, feel a little bit better about whatever is going on, because it can be very stressful in nursing school or in college. It can be very, very stressful because there are so much deadlines that you have to be meeting up on. You know, there are just so much additional things that you have to do. You're away from your family, you don't have the support system, you know, in place, and all of those are things that will cause you to feel stressed, overwhelmed, as well as exhausted. So you're gonna feel as though you want to cry some days, so brace for that one. All right. When it comes on to time management, that is something that we all need to get a hang of, whether or not you're doing nursing or any program of study. That is something that is very important. Time management can either break you or it can actually make you, we're gonna say. All right, because if you don't have good time management in terms of with your clinicals, in terms of with your coursework, all of those things, it can either make you feel exhausted, overwhelmed a lot of times, and miss your deadlines. And you know, missing deadlines are not good, because sometimes it can mess up with your GPA, your scores, because if every time you're going to be missing a deadline, you know, that can affect your overall score, and that is something that you don't want. So focus on time management, because that is very, very important, not only in college but also whenever you start working as a nurse, because when it comes on to prioritizing, if you don't have good time management, then, you know, sometimes a patient will end up and dead on you, and you don't want that to be happening. So start practicing from early time management, because it will follow you. You understand? If you have good time management in nursing school, that will follow you throughout your career, and it will help not only you but also your patients. All right, so make sure you focus on that and try to see how well you can build on that. So I have 16 minutes down to my first patient. trying to figure out where I'm at on the road, because I don't remember this road, driving down here on this road. Another thing that we always talk about is self-care. All right, when you focus on self-care, some people might look at it to say that you're lazy because you don't want to work those extra or take the extra time to do something else. Don't think of it like that. Self-care is not considered to be lazy, or it is not lazy for me, being lazy for me. Self-care is you prioritizing yourself, because in the end you want to live longer. All right, that's what we strive for, longevity. So when you focus on self-care, that is what you are maintaining. You're maintaining your overall health, physically, emotionally, mentally. All right, you're trying to prevent burnout. And so start from early to realize that that is something that you need to prioritize. That is something that you need to focus on as a student as you get into nursing, because nursing is very, very stressful. It's a very stressful job in the sense that, you know, you have so much things dealing with along with your personal life, and because of that it can become something that will put a negative effect, or a negative effect on your body. All right, and so you realize that a lot of persons, they've been working for years and eventually start feeling as though they're burnout. You have some persons who are working for months, like, you know, under 1 year, and still feeling as though they're burnout, because in nursing they never expected to be doing so much manpower. They never expected to be doing so much lifting, pulling, you know. When it comes on to doing your calculations, even though you have your phone, you have a calculator, you can do all of those, you still have to be doing certain checks and balances, you know, every now and again as a nurse. So it's not only the physical, it takes away, you know, that mental. So you have to focus on that. It's very important. Another thing is that, you know, because you have so much things dealing with as well in terms of for your patients, and you know, we are all humans, we still have our own personal issues, needs. You understand, we have situations that we're dealing with that persons are not able to see, but you're still showing up and giving the best care, but deep down you know that you're hurting. You understand, that itself also can lead you to becoming burnout from too early. All right, and that's not what we want. We want it to be a case where we're healthy ourselves and we're taking care of our patients to the best of our ability. Patient is well, you are well, and that's the most important thing. We don't want it to be a case where we are burnt out or we're working too much and eventually not able to give the best care to our patients. Another thing, when it comes on to nursing, you know, especially when you're starting nursing school, you always want to find your little tribe. All right, you always want to find your little nursing school tribe, persons that you can sit down and study with, you know, talk with, ask questions, interact with, and some days cry with. You understand, because as I say, nursing is so hard. It's not you alone that is going to be going through certain situations, who will be having a hard time with what is being offered in the program. You understand, the coursework, dealing with stress. It's not you alone going to be having or experiencing that. You have other persons that are going to be there. So if you can find your own little nursing tribe to help with that, it will make you feel a little bit better, because at least you know that you're not alone. A lot of times we need company. We need company all the time. You understand? So if you can find that person or that group of person where you can be there to support each other, that would be very, very important. You understand? Because you know that you're in this together, you're surviving together, you're going through whatever trauma, drama you know, is happening in that school, that university, that class. at least you know that you're not alone, and that's what we need. We need togetherness. A lot of times we need it. And you know, sometimes you might be the weak person, but when you have persons around you that are strong, it helps with building you up. And that is what we need. We need somebody there to encourage us and tell us that, you know, we can do it. You can do it, Stacy. You can do it, John. You can do it, Doe. You understand? Things like that. We need it every now and again. And so when you have a circle of people that is very supportive, you understand, it adds value. You understand? It adds value to you, your, you know, your work. And that is just something that everybody wants. All right, so always have that group of people that is always going to be there to help you during those time period. All right, another thing is you definitely want is you want to make sure that you show up for your clinicals. I know a lot of times we might look at clinicals and we say, oh, clinicals is not a big deal, but clinicals is a big deal because that's where you learn from your mistakes. Not saying that you're not going to make mistakes when you start working as a nurse or, you know, your license. You can still make mistakes, but at least that's the time you know, you start making your little mistakes, and then you build on those things. All right, you build on those things. And they always say practice makes perfect. You understand? So if you're starting out and you are practicing as much as you possibly can in your clinical sites, with working on your IVs, working on your catheterizations, your NG tube, things like those, eventually you will become proficient at, you know, what you're doing. And that's the most important thing. So don't overlook and think that, you know, clinicals is nothing. Clinicals is everything, because remember, you have no skills as a person going into the nursing, you know, the nursing program. So you have to start from somewhere, and that is the training ground. It's very, very important for you to have that kind of training so you can feel a little bit more comfortable when you get into the working world and you know, and doing all of these procedures, not for the first time but for the second, the third, or the fourth time. You understand? Because at least you'd have had that little one, you know, that one time experience with doing some procedures while you're in school. And for me in nursing school, that was just something that I always look forward to, the clinicals. I always look forward to the clinicals because that's where I feel like, you know, I am a nurse. So if you can start, you know, thinking along that line where, okay, then you are a nurse even though you're in training, but you're working on all those skills to build yourself, make yourself a little bit more proficient or competent at, you know, your task. At least when you go out into the working world, you'll know where you stand in terms of with the management of your patient. That will also help with time management, because if you're able to do your skills, your procedures by yourself in a timely manner, that is going to help a lot with your turnover in terms of your patients. You understand? Wait time, all of those things are going to cut down because you are competent or you're knowledgeable about what you're doing. And so that is something that you need to be prepared for. Another thing is that, you know, when we start out any program, just like when patients come into the hospital, we always say that, you know, discharge teaching or discharge starts from the time the patient enters. So discharge teaching rather starts from the time the patient enters the hospital from emergency room. That's when they start teaching the patient about, you know, things that they're going to be doing at the time when they're discharged from the hospital. So you're preparing them, you're teaching them. And it's the same thing when it comes on to nursing. You're in nursing school. Just remember that NCLEX, preparation for NCLEX starts from day one. It's not at the time when you're 6 months out of the program or 6 months, you know, getting it's not 6 months, you know, out of the program, heading out of the program. This NCLEX preparation starts from day one. So whatever you are doing from day one is in preparation for you to become licensed, for you to actually sit your NCLEX. And so start thinking like that, where whatever content you're covering, it is something that is going to help you with you doing or excelling in your NCLEX. And that is very important, because I know a lot of times sometimes persons go ahead and they try to, you know, waste out their entire time in college or in nursing school because they feel as though it's a walkthrough. You can always just go on the internet and read and, you know, do all of those things. And then the last 6 months of nursing school, that's when we're trying to get all of the information, up and running in preparation for our NCLEX, and then we end up going into those NCLEX or the RENR and fail the exam, and then we're wondering, how did I fail the exam? It's because we never really prepare. We never start preparing from day one when we started our program. So even if you're not doing a lot of studying during the week time, you want to ensure that you are setting aside time for study. You understand? You need to set aside time for study to make sure that whatever content you cover during the week, it is done. Whatever content you cover during the week, it is done, and you're able to review it at a later time. So that way it can always be like a refresher for you in preparation for your NCLEX couple of years from the time you did it. So that is very important. So a lot of times, as I say, that is something that a lot of persons do struggle with, and they come back asking themselves, how did I fail this exam? Yes, because we never really study. We never study, and because of that, we find ourselves failing and having to resit or do remedial courses at the end, when that could have been something that we avoid just by starting preparation for your NCLEX or for your nursing license from day one. All right. The other thing is, sometimes when we are doing our nursing program, you're gonna find out that depending on how you're covering your tuition costs. You have some persons who are covering it through student loan. You have persons who are covering their tuitions through work and study program, family members, whichever means you are using to cover your costs for your tuition. Just remember, or for university, just remember the reason why you started. You understand? Because some persons who probably have a lot of money, they don't focus on that, and so they kind of end up just wasting their entire time in nursing school or in university. Some persons who are broke, what they do is they take a lot of time to get the content and try not to miss a class, a clinicals, or even fail a course, because they know that they don't have any money to go ahead and do any repeat. There is no room for repeats in their mind. And so just remember why you started, and that is going to be your motivator as to how soon you end. You want it to be a case where you complete your course of study. That is the most important thing. You graduate with your bachelor's of science, your bachelor's your bachelor's of science in nursing, or whatever area you're studying if you're not a nurse here. But you want it to be a case where at the end of your 4 years, your 3 years, you would have completed your course of study successfully and graduated with that degree. Because regardless, just think of it. If you're broke, nobody wants to be in college for a long time. You want it to be a case where you get your degree, and then you go into the working world and start working. And that is just the aim that a lot of persons do have. You understand? So remember your why you started, because I know a lot of times you're gonna find yourself just doubting yourself. You're gonna find yourself feeling broke, feeling as though you made the wrong decision. You're gonna find yourself not having the urge or the drive anymore to do it. Sometimes when you are at a point where you have no support. So just remember why you started it, and try not to be doubting yourself a lot, because as I say, it's going to come across your mind. It's going to come across your mind where every second you're going to be asking, did I make the right decision? Things like that. So always remember your why, and then from there try to push forward, try to find your support group. As I said, find your tribe in nursing, somebody that you can talk to, or a group of persons that you can talk to about the situations that you're having, and then from there hopefully you will pull through along with them. And that's all I can say in terms of the preparation for nursing school. So if you have any questions, you can always go ahead and you leave them in the comment box below. You can also go ahead and DM me on TikTok at ThinkNursing, and I will answer them as best as possible. As I say, I'm very transparent, so whatever information you have or questions you have, I will definitely answer them as best as I possibly can, and then from there. But until then, I'm gonna go ahead and see my patient, and I will see you in the next video. You understand? I'll see you in the next video throughout the day. All right, bye.